Okay, why we decided to took dollar PLN? Until the Friday, the monthly chart, the whole February Polish zloty was stronger. So from the technical perspective, we can expect that we are going to hunt the stops around 3 or slightly below 3. So from the technical perspective, looks like Polish zloty has a chance to be stronger. Similar on the weekly, below 20 weekly moving average. As we can see here, there is a supply on the market. Okay, but because of the current situation and our view as the FX advisor team is that we are not going to solve the situation within 1 or 2 days. I wouldn't say that it could be worse or better within the next 5-10 hours, but as we can't have an exposure through the Ukrainian hryvnia, as the Polish market is the closest one, we decided to take the long on dollar Polish. We had a gap at the opening yesterday. There was no huge pullback, there was no liquidity, spread was wider, so we decided to take the long earlier today, not during the Tokyo session. And if we are right, because we're risking around 1.25%, our risk for the whole portfolio is very small, is 0.25%. So our stop offer is below the 3. But if we are right with our position, so we can at least expect 315. It's just 4%, so it's possible for Polish zloty to move 4% during the day, both up and down. And if the situation will worsen in Ukraine, then we can expect 327 very quickly. On a daily, from the technical perspective, we have some kind of the base. We are in the lower end of the base. So yeah, at least we have a quite good risk reward. So that's why we made the decision to take long USD PLN as the risk reward, and the current situation is at this particular moment is in our favor. And it's as I mentioned in the comments, a pure speculative position. So we know that there is a huge possibility that we are going to be stopped out even within the next few hours, right? Okay, and here is a DAX. And we are back to our first selling level of 9,500. But as I mentioned, we decided to go slightly higher with our order toward the gap. So we are waiting there. there is a possibility to see few spikes during the day. The thing is, because we have quite wide, or target is far away from current level, as I mentioned, there is a possibility for 9,260, so it's somewhere here on daily, but 9,100 cannot be ruled out. Let's take a look on 1 hour. On our first idea, we were looking to sell on the pullback to the previous support, now resistance. We think that there is a possibility, as everyone is trying to trade here, that there is a possibility that we can try to clean those stops. That we can try to clean out those stops, so it could push prices higher towards our entry level. And during the situation like we have right now, it's better to try to use extremes sometimes than obvious points. So that's the reason we've changed the entry level. So it's our view, based on the Ukrainian crisis, dollar Polish and DAX, we are going to try to sell DAX slightly higher, and currently we are long dollar Polish zloty, and even if there are a lot of discussion around between the politicians, we don't expect that something can be solved within the next few hours, and we expect market is going to be much more nervous closer to US open. And as I mentioned before, as I can see, the DAX is much weaker, and it's quite obvious because of the because of the relation between the Germans and Russians, than S&P. So the small move to the downside on the S&P and we can expect stronger fall on DAX. So that is about the current situation in Ukraine. Now, because it looks like we are going to discuss only pure macro today, as there is plenty different things we have to look at. So we are going to discuss monthly charts on Wednesday. Today we are going to go through the calendar until the Friday and what we can expect from the macro perspective as well. So let's switch to Australian dollar. Let me clean slightly at least the chart here. Not very clear situation in China is affecting Australian dollar. The Chinese yuan was weakening whole previous week. There were few rumors about the possibility of the widening of the band for Chinese yuan. So weakening yuan is supporting Japanese yen, and it has negative influence for Australian dollar. So there is another reason to try to buy Japanese yen, overall risk off, and then the situation in China. But I'm going to talk about the yen within the next few minutes. Let's focus on Australian dollar. Nothing has happened over the weekend in China. The only weaker than expected PMI last Saturday, and we can see slightly stronger Australian dollar during the late Tokyo, early Europe session. So the low was below 0.89. Right now we are around 0.8935. Additionally, we have interest rate decision during the next Tokyo session. I mean, within next 12-16 hours. Within next 36 hours, we are going to have a GDP number from Australia. Expectations are slightly higher than previous one. And and Thursday morning, we are going to have a retail sales and trade balance. So plenty of numbers from Australia. Interest rate decision most probably unchanged tonight. The statement is going to be important. So if you would like to trade Australian dollar from the long side, most probably the best way is to trade via neighbor, means long Australian versus New Zealand dollar. As we are very close to the support on monthly, on weekly, we are right at support right now. Please take a look. The thing is that we are in a strong bear market here. But the possible target around 112 easily is going to give us 3 to 1, 4 to 1. Of course, maybe better is to wait for a breakout, pullback, and if the support and line, broken trend line, will hold, then go long. So it's all about you as a trader. If you are aggressive trader, then you are looking to buy now. If you are a conservative trader, you are waiting for some kind of the confirmations. Let's take a look on daily. It's more interesting on the daily. As the fastest trend line has been broken already. Here. Now we have some support around 105.50 more or less. So still we are figure higher. So maybe over today, tomorrow, if today, so we should see some supply coming into the market now, and the candle will finish something will look like this, right? And the test of the 105.50 tomorrow. So definitely something going on here. So let's take a look on hourly if we can find something interesting. On hourly, some kind of double bottom here. So intraday traders can try to trade pure speculation before the Australian Central Bank rate decision later today during the Tokyo session, and aggressive bulls can try to buy around 106.40 to try to trade this double bottom. So trying to buy around this level here below 6045. So between 106.25, 106.40 with tight stop below, targeting the resistance here. So trying to trade this type of the trade, so targeting around 107. So aggressive traders have to find the optimal entry level to get at least, for day trading, to get at least 2.5 to 1 the target. So try to buy as low as possible with tight stop and try to exit around 107. If you are Australian dollar bear, most probably the best way is to have the short exposure through Japanese yen. We don't have it, but as far as I know, few of our students, based on the weekly chart, they didn't take the short from last week we took. They didn't take short based on our analysis. They took the short, I also mentioned about this, based on this double doji formation with stop here. They are holding short right now, and we here in FX Advisor team, we are looking to sell Aussie yen as well as intraday trade. So how can we join Australian dollar yen intraday? I would say that the best way is to wait for some kind of the pullback from current level towards 91, 91.40, and here could be quite good selling area if you are looking for short opportunity. The daily chart, so let's put it the green line. So here higher prices cannot be ruled out, but looks like yen is buying, market is buying the Japanese currency right now since open. So let's see what's going to happen here, and most probably the risk here with Australian dollar is that both sides have a chance. All depends on RBA later today during the Tokyo session, then GDP. So there is a lot of risk events from Australia, so be careful. So if you want to buy Australian dollar, most probably the best way is to go this through New Zealand dollar. And if you want to have a short exposure, most probably is the best way to have it through the Japanese yen. But it's going to give us one very important information here. From this we can get very important information. It depends on the spreads you have. You can try to trade intraday New Zealandian JPY to the downside, right? Because we're expecting, of course it's good to prepare your own analysis, but we expect that Australian is going to be stronger than New Zealand and weaker than JPY. So based on this information, if you have quite good spread on New Zealand dollar JPY, then you can try to trade to the downside intraday trade on the New Zealandian versus Japanese yen. Okay. Let's get down to one hour. We are going back to Japanese within a few minutes. I quickly switch to British pound as we are waiting the number from UK, and we are short British pound. So let's see what's going to happen here. Pound is slightly stronger. I'm going to try to find the number. It's slightly better than expectations. It's 56.9. Expectations was 56.5. Pound is stronger. And as we put out on our website the chart, we are short based on this combination of the broken trend line, pull back to the trend line, and also some resistance. So purely based on the technical view, we decide to take the short. The first support is quite close, 66.40, 45. based on daily moving average 20. But if the bears will be able to take out this support, we expect further fall toward 63.30. So we are targeting around 4 figures, risking around 1 figure. So we think there is a potential 4-1. Okay, so we do know that the number from UK is slightly better. Pound is back again toward the resistance area. So let's see what's going to happen. Okay, let's get back to Australian dollar. Quite strong move to the downside. Opening gap, trying to make a pullback, and most probably we are going to test this trend line. We have some kind of support around 90.85, 91.50. Now should work as resistance. So let's see what's going to happen around 91 before entering the trade on Aussie JPY. Okay. So if we are talking about the Japanese yen, so let's take a look on Euro JPY. So there is a 20 monthly moving average, visible support, and as we can see, there is some demand for Japanese currency, and there was some selling straight after the January on the February from the traders who are following the candlestick formation. But I would say that we cannot rule it out. If we hit the resistance here, then it's the first thing, but the move toward last high cannot be ruled out based on the monthly chart. Let's see what we have on weekly. Okay, it's quite one-way ticket for on weekly for around 50 figures. So we are up 50% on weekly. Overall, I would say from the bottom, but it's nice to see things like this. We are much closer to the 20 weekly moving average here. We have some visible support on weekly, and the support is close to the support on monthly, so around 133. daily. As I mentioned a few times already, I'm not the master of Elliott wave, but just simple calculation: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have a chance to go toward the support from the monthly and weekly chart toward the 133. For sure, we have a chance to go toward 137. So if we have bearish view, how can we join the market? Let's switch to 1 hour chart. For intraday traders, let's see what we can have it here. Visible support around 138.70-60 or 138.80 to 138.60. We have some kind of high, higher high, and bam, lower high, but still he was a, 1 second. He was a gap after the inflation number from Germany, and here's a gap because of the Ukraine. So we have some kind of the island here. Actually, the gap is closed. So intraday traders wants to have a short exposure. Let's take a look. Okay. Actually, it's going to be very speculative trade, but based on this trend line, 90. So I'm going to try to sell around 1,139.65, 10 pips higher, with stop 95. So it's going to be 30 pips, and I'm going to target lower end, so 100, the low of the last week, 138, let's say 90. So I'm going to have 80 points, risking 30. So I can try to sell slightly higher to get better level. Okay. So I'm going to place order, limit order to sell Euro JPY. And it's going to be valid only today, so it's an intraday order. Okay, so I'm going to put the order to sell at 1 moment. I'm going to place the order to sell at 139.72. Okay. And I'm going to place the stop order at 93 bit. So depends on your spread, around 96, 97. Just one moment. Okay, so intraday I have a working order. Actually, when we started to place the order, the prices fall down. So okay, so on Euro JPY we have a working order. On DAX we have a working order. We are long dollar Polish and it's working in our favor right now. Let's go through the calendar, because Ukraine is one thing, but we are going to have few central bank meetings this week, and as I mentioned, we are going to start with Australian Central Bank during this Tokyo session. Then we are going to have Canadian Central Bank, Bank of Canada. It's going to be on Wednesday. And then Thursday we are going to have Bank of England and European Central Bank. So let's take a look on euro dollar. And let's discuss what we can see here within the next few days. On Friday there was a breakout. We were thinking to buy the breakout during the pullback, but there was no pullback towards 37.60 on Friday, and over the weekend we opened with the gap and we tested 37.60, but taking the situation on Ukraine and into the consideration, plus ECB, so right now looks like this week we are going to watch euro dollar, and to be honest with you, it's not so clear for us, because purely technically speaking, based on the monthly, we have a chance to rise higher from here. But on the other hand, we have so from the bull's perspective, yeah, there is a potential to go higher. So what bears can expect? Actually, the situation in Ukraine, as I mentioned, as there is a quite big relation between the Germans and the Russians, so I mean the business relations. So the current situation could have negative impact for euro. The question is for how long. The second thing is the stronger euro currency could have negative impact especially for the Germans, for the German companies, and most probably ECB will try to do everything they can to make euro weaker. So right now I would say maybe I'm wrong, but I would say it's like 50-50, and it's better to focus on intraday trading than position trading right now until the ECB. So let's switch to weekly. Let's see what we can have here. No, yes. And again, depends how you want to draw the line. I mentioned last week about it. It's a weekly, so it's a blue. If you are drawing like this, so looks like we had a pullback and it was long opportunity, and we are looking to buy around 36.60, 36.40. Unfortunately, prices didn't get back there second time last week. So we lost this opportunity to buy. But if you are drawing like this one, so we are still under. So again, here on weekly is again 50-50 for me. So let's switch to daily. So bulls for sure are trying to buy the pullbacks. Right now 20 daily moving average is around 37. So low, high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high, but still below this area. So bulls trying to buy dips, and the question is if the bears gave up already and waiting for this 38.80, or they use the current situation and the opening with the gap was the attack already. But to be honest with you, again, we are in the middle of the actually we are in the middle of the nowhere, right? So it is it's not a level to buy and it's not a level to sell right now. Let's go to the hourly. Yeah, so we have this opening gap. Most probably we are going to test it, this level 38. So potential selling levels are slightly higher. I would say intraday selling levels are slightly higher towards 138. And the buyers should be lower, around 37.40, 37.30, 37.25, and right now we are in the middle. Let's take a look on Swiss franc. Last week I mentioned that I don't want to have the short exposure in Swiss franc, both dollar Swiss franc, euro Swiss franc, and looks like it was quite good decision, especially euro Swiss. So bulls suffered here extremely. Now we are trying to make some pullback, but the gap was quite huge. And let's go to gold. One second, as I have a chart here. Okay, gold is testing 1,350. As I mentioned last week, intraday it could be quite good selling area, but again, based on current situation in Ukraine, I would rather to stay out from the shorting gold. I would rather wait for some kind of extremes. Okay, so where we can find some extremes, 1,363. So the end of this selling zone here, I would like to see some kind of the stop hunting, hesitation, move back. So then most probably that could be the good chance to join the move down toward the 20 weekly moving average, which is now around 1,300. Our Euro JPY order is still working right now. We are trading around 13954. Or even I would wait for 1,375 to see some stops cleaning of this level here, right? So everything is possible, especially if the situation in Ukraine will worsen. So then we can have a chance to see some extremes. And right now, yeah, it's this type of the situation where first you want to keep very small risk with every of your position. It's very important that if you are going to be stop out, if you are going to be not correct with your position, or just even if the only spike is going to clean out the stops. So simply you want to have a very small exposure. We are not going to use more than 0.25 to 0.5 of the whole portfolio. So it's a very important thing. The second thing, if you are completely novice trader, so I would say that maybe better is just to watch the market, just to make a paper trading, just to trade demo account, right? To avoid the situation that you are in a trap as a novice trader, as a new trader. So maybe better to stay out completely. And again, for all of us, if you want to try to trade, try to trade extremes. Try to expect what others are not expecting. So here is the best way to eventually get the exposure. There is a sentence: buy when others are selling. Of course, it's true, but the truth is that we just started, right? Most probably, in my opinion, of course, maybe I'm wrong, but it's not going to finish today. So maybe there are going to be the chances for buying opportunity in the midterm. I wouldn't say that today's dip is the last one. So be extremely careful. Try to use the extremes. We were supposed to discuss the monthly charts today, but because of this situation in Ukraine, plus there is plenty of central banks this week, so I would say that nothing going to happen if we are going to discuss monthly charts during our next meeting on Wednesday. So today we went through the USD, PLN and DAX based on the Ukrainian situation. We discussed Australian dollar because of the central bank in Australia rate decision during the Tokyo session. So we discussed the most important things for the next 24 hours. Japanese yen and Swiss franc are in demand. DAX is weaker than S&P, so if you would like to have shorter exposure on the indices, maybe it's a good idea to choose the DAX. Maybe it's a good idea to choose if you have good spread, so maybe you can take the exposure via Russian index or Hungarian index or even Polish index. But with DAX, we are sure that we have some kind of liquidity we need, so yeah, we are looking to sell DAX. We have a working order. We have a working order on the Euro JPY, and please remember it's only day order, so means that at 9 GMT is going to be cancelled. So we are waiting to sell Euro JPY at 13972. The gold is testing the resistance. Euro dollar is fighting. The pound tested the resistance again after the UK data, and now it's slightly pulling back. So yeah, we have some exposure on the market. Let's try to keep it tight, and I would say that during the US session maybe we will have some more information, so maybe it's going to be easier to make some trading decisions. We are going to keep update everything on our website. That's it for today. I would like to say thank you very much. I would like to say happy trading, be careful, and see you again on Wednesday. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.